Hey, it's Mercedes here. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about how to talk about politics in your family and with your kids. That's a very big topic right now, especially given our current political climate. But I do think it's really important, given all the attention to politics in the media, that we really take some time to talk about how do we discuss this with our children. So let's jump right in. So, one of the many things that I enjoy talking about with my families and with my parents is not just what's going on in their home, but what's going on in the world at large as well. Because we all know that no matter what's going on in our home, there are things that are going on outside of our home with our environment, with our politics, with our lives that also really affect how we live our lives every day. One of those things that's been getting a lot of media attention right now is politics and the current presidential race. And I've had a lot of parents ask me, how do I talk about this with my kid without sounding biased or without sounding, one way or the other, or making my kid lean one way or the other? So what I really want to do in this video is share how can you talk to your kids about politics without making them choose a side, but giving them a space where they can really share what they understand about politics, what they understand about government, and how they can move forward in developing their own understanding of politics and government. The first way that you can really give your kids a great foundation of discussing politics and government and even knowing what it is just to give them a quick overview of what the government actually is. What are the three branches of government? How do they work together? What does each of those branches do, and why do we even have them? I think sometimes we can all get swept up in the hoopla and the media circus that is our current political system and the way that things are shared on social media and on TV. But I think really starting with the basics, no matter how old your child is, even if they're in high school right now and they may be learning government, I think really getting a good understanding for you and your family on what is the foundation of our American government. How did it start? Why did it start? And why do we even have politics in the first place? I think that's a really great place to start because there's no bias in talking about history and there's no bias in talking about our government. You don't have to talk about just Democrats versus Republicans or X versus Y. You can just say, this is our government, these are the three branches, and this is how they all work in tandem to create our government system. The second way that we can really begin to have a great conversation with our kids about government, politics, and what's going on currently in our world is to really bring up some of the major issues that could be going on, especially in America right now. You could be talking about healthcare, you could be talking about financial responsibility, you could be talking about human rights and civil rights for others. And even though our kids may not know everything that's going on, you can open up a discussion where you ask them, do you currently know what's going on in America right now? They can say yay or nay. Do you currently know any of the issues that the politicians or that our presidential candidates might be talking about? They may say yay or nay. And from there, you can ask their opinions on what do they know? What do they hear? What do they think? Do they believe some of this stuff? Do they know some of this stuff? And in that, I think it begins to set that foundation for them to develop their own understanding of things. And you definitely want to have that discussion in a non-judgmental way, so that way they can feel like, yes, okay, I get to talk about politics in my family. I get to share who I am. And if on the off shot, you guys kind of butt heads, really, this is a great time to teach your kid how to discuss things when they may not agree with their friends, their teachers, or other people in their social circle, because you're that first person that they're going to get to disagree with. You get to model for them how to disagree. You get to model with them how to not see eye to eye on certain issues. So definitely take some time to think about that when you guys are talking about things, and give your kids a safe space to know that they don't have to always agree with every single political or, governmental idea that you have. They don't have to agree with it. And then talk about it and teach them how to really have that healthy discussion of how to agree to disagree. That one actually brings us into our next tip, which is to really open up roundtable discussions in your family about politics, government, and the state of our country and our world. I think so many things happen in our world that we kind of glaze over, or we just kind of allow the media to tell us how to think. And I think this is a great time for you to cultivate that sense of curiosity and that sense of understanding with your children by having roundtable discussions about things that are currently happening in the world. It could be the current presidential race, it could be something that's happening in your community, it could be something bigger like things that might be happening internationally, but to really begin to have a roundtable discussion where everybody in the family says, hey, I read this news thing and I think this, or hey, the teacher talked about this in class today and I don't know anything about that. What is that? And to really begin to talk without judgments, without shaming each other, without calling each other names, but to really understand, wow, there's so much going on in the world that we can really talk about together. And you as the parent, you as that guide, can really begin to help your child cultivate really healthy ways of expressing their ideas about cultural issues, community issues, world issues, political issues. You can really take that time to say, hey, this is what's going on in our political climate. What do you think? And then really helping them to cultivate what it means to have their own opinions about things that sometimes can be very tense and very intense, right? So again, that third tip is to really begin to have roundtable discussions, especially when so much of our media is consumed by our current presidential race and our current political stance in the world. So let's do a quick recap. Here are 3 ways that you can talk about politics in your family and with your children. The first way is to start with an actual foundation and overview of what the American government actually is, what politics are, and why do we even have that in the first place. I think that'll be a really good start and a really good foundation to even begin to discuss what's currently going on in the presidential race, what's currently going on in our political kind of arena right now. Even if your kid is old enough to be learning it in school, I think it's a really good foundation to have that talk at home as well. The second thing you want to do is to bring up some of the issues that are currently going on in our current political arena. So healthcare, finances, things like that, that again, you may think, oh, my kid doesn't care about, they don't want to know, but one day they're going to have to know, and one day they're going to have these ideas and these opinions. So you definitely want to be able to have those discussions and even talk to them about the issues and get their opinions on what do they know and what do they think. And in this step, also understand that sometimes your kids might not agree or see eye to eye with you. And this is the perfect opportunity to guide them on how to agree to disagree, because this is not going to be the first time they share their ideas about politics, and they might not agree with that person. So you definitely want to be a good model for them on how to agree with somebody, but also how to disagree with somebody. And thirdly, you want to start a tradition of roundtable discussions around government and politics. I think being active citizens in our world also requires us to understand what's currently going on in our political climate, how to pick a president, how to vote. All these things we should definitely be talking about with our kids, even if they're nowhere near the voting age yet. They will be one day, and I think starting these roundtable discussions where they begin to cultivate that curiosity about their government, they begin to cultivate their own opinions about their government, will help them when they get old enough to begin to start thinking about voting and who they should vote for. Thanks so much for taking the time out today to watch this video. I hope the tips in the video were able to help you feel empowered and to unlock your parent powers. Please feel free to learn more about what I do and who I am at my website, theparentingskill.com. There, you can join my current freebie challenge, which is the 7-Day Parenting Challenge, where you get 7 days of videos that'll help you feel more empowered and help you unlock your awesome and unique parenting powers. See you at the site. Bye.